my gosh, it's so good to see you, Lisa. How are you
It's,
doing?
it's so good to see you. I'm doing great. It's a beautiful Saturday morning, and I'm just
Yes,
enjoying, yep, just having a little time and space.
yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this episode of Grateful Wounds. Just real quick, Grateful Wounds podcast. My mission is basically it's a storytelling platform where real conversations about pain, healing, faith, motherhood, and just transformation take place through personal stories, expert insights like yourself, powerful conversations, and then me, Tanasha Allwood as the host, I explore some of my life's deepest wounds and how that can lead to purpose, growth, and empowerment. Um, Long story short, basically, I'm hoping to create meaningful dialogue that will empower listeners to grow through what they have been through. On previous episodes, I've shared with my listeners my story about my journey to therapy, which involves the incarceration of my son
Yeah.
and how that just kind of initially led me to being in a dark place, and then
Yeah.
after coming out of that, with that story, it happening again, and then I'm just like, I had got to a point in my life where I didn't want to suffer in silence, if you will, or be in this
Yeah.
dark place, and decided to get therapy. And so
hmm
that's when, our journeys, yours and I journey had
Yes.
crossed. And so
Yes.
um I shared that in a few episodes. And so today, really what I want to talk about is therapy. In every healing journey, there comes a moment um, where many people realize, you know what, I can't carry this alone.
Yeah.
For me, that moment came when I decided to truly try therapy. At first, I wasn't sure. I questioned it. I wondered if it would really help. Would someone truly understand, what I was feeling? Overall, what I discovered was therapy truly changed my life, and I can't imagine my life without it. So, with that said, listeners, I want to
Beautiful.
welcome my guest, Miss Lisa James. She is a licensed marriage family therapist, and I've known her for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Lisa, introduce yourself.
Hi.
Glad to have you here.
I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you so much. It's really
Yes,
an honor. More than anything, it's been an honor to be in your life
thank
and
you.
to walk out this journey. I've had a front row seat to just a lot of hard things that you have had to mountains you've had to climb over the last couple of years, and I'm
Yeah.
grateful. I do feel like God put us together, and I think that is something to be said when it comes to trying to pick a therapist,
Yes.
um, because it can be overwhelming to know who do I pick, who's going to connect with me, and kind of trusting your gut on that as you're
Right.
looking at profiles and pictures, and trying to take that first step of picking a therapist. It's such a
Yes.
personal thing. And I do want to just throw it out there that sometimes you pick and it
Yes.
doesn't fit.
It
And that's
doesn't fit.
okay. And you
Right.
can just say, no, thank you. And just pick another one.
It just,
I've had to do it as a therapist. Therapists go to
oh, wow.
therapy. So I've had to do that too, where I thought I wanted a male
Mhm.
therapist because of this great relationships I had with my dad, my grandfather. But then I needed a woman. I felt
Yes.
like they weren't getting me. And so I
Right.
just said, thank you for your time, and I'm going to go somewhere else. And so to know that you can do that, to give
Yes.
yourself permission when you're first starting off to try to find a therapist of,
Yes.
I'm going to baby step this, and I'm going to see how the connection feels, because this
Right.
connection, it's, statistically, data wise, 40% of what produces change in therapy is the therapeutic relationship. And so the connection is really, really important.
Important.
Yeah.
Yes. I
Yeah.
love that. I love everything you just said because It took me a while. I mean, I was in
Yeah.
denial at first, but then when I found you, I was just like, oh my God, like, won't he do it? I don't know if you remember, but I think I tell you a couple times, like, I feel like I'm talking to a girlfriend. Like, it
Mm.
doesn't feel it
Yeah.
doesn't feel
Yeah.
like I know you're a therapist, but sometimes I just feel like I'm talking to a friend. And
Yes.
really, at the end of the day, for anyone listening out there, that's what's important. Like, when you get that feeling, like, go with it because
Yeah.
it'll truly make a difference.
Yeah, every therapist, there's different therapy approaches.
Uh-huh.
And, we're taught in school, you pick a therapy approach, a single approach for continuity of care. And
Okay.
then you can pull interventions from other therapeutic approaches, which what I do, but I am relationship based. I come
Yes.
from my basis is attachment therapy.
Okay.
So this right here, this is the
Yes.
most important thing, right?
y-
So you feeling like you're talking to somebody, a girlfriend that gets you,
Yes.
that's my base. That's what I want, right?
Okay.
Because safety is huge to be vulnerable. And come
Yes.
on, I happen to draw bosses, okay? All my clients are these strong females. And so you have to connect. You have to be able to understand that strong female mind, which I'm also similar. Um,
Yes.
and to be able to really to meet them where they are and to get them. It's really important as
Yeah.
a client coming in that you feel like your therapist gets you, that they see you
You.
and can give an objective,
Uh,
um,
yes.
offer an objective point of view.
Yes.
Just different than your girlfriends, right? Because your
Right.
girlfriends are going to be like, you're the best, he's a
Yes.
jerk, like
Yes.
support. But to have an objective view is different because it's like this lovingness, but truth. And it's
Yes.
saying, could you explore that? Could we look at this maybe? Perhaps I could be wrong, but
Right.
maybe this, and it's like, oh, it's like, oh, this person has my best interest in mind,
In
and they're
part.
telling me
Yes.
to look over here, and do I want to look over there at
Right.
myself, So, yeah, that's the beauty of therapy, I think, is you get a safe place
Safe place. Yes.
to share all your vulnerability, legally, ethically,
Yes.
they cannot share it unless
Right.
it's written permission.
Right.
And they're going to give you a view that maybe your family or friends don't have the courage to tell you or
Yes.
don't see or don't know how, right, to help you to explore. So it's a safe place for you to really share your heart and get some feedback.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. And so speaking of that safe place for those who may not have listened to the other episodes, I encourage you to please go and listen to the other episodes. Just subscribe to my YouTube channel, all the things. But for those who may not know, there was a point in time in my life where my son had been in prison. He had been in prison for about 5 years. He got out. I moved him to LA, where I'm currently at. And 3 months after him being here, he committed another crime and found himself incarcerated again.
Yeah.
The first time around for me, that 5 years, I didn't want to live anymore, basically. I was in a dark place in my life. And so this second time around, I was very determined to not go down that path again and be in that dark space. So it was important for me to get someone to talk to about how I was feeling. And so
Yeah.
that is the exact moment in my life that led me to seek therapy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, with that, my first question is, why do you think people are, so afraid at first to find therapy?
Yeah. I think, we talk kind of jumping off what you already said. Often it's when we're in a dark place. Often when we're struggling, we don't tend to reach out for support until we're at our wits' end,
Yes.
And so I think that often people come to a place of therapy because they're at their wits' end. They don't know what else to do. I think some of the barriers is a lot of different things, right? Therapy's not cheap. Let's just be
Yes.
honest, it's not cheap. I'm grateful that insurance um, offers therapy, right? Um, but it is still, you have to have insurance to
Yes.
be able to do it. And then, you know, depending on your insurance, right? And there's a lot of therapists that don't take insurance. That was a
Mm.
big thing
Oh,
when I came into the practice was
okay.
I will take insurance because normal, good people need a
Yeah.
good therapist they can afford. It's not fair. It's access to service. So that
Yes.
was one thing that from the get-go, because I'm a normal girl, right? I'm a middle class, like I was raised like lower middle class, and this is a privilege.
Yes.
It is, and we can't forget that. So I've done a lot of pro bono work. Which is just basically discounted therapy,
Right.
according to what my client can pay, because I believe everybody deserves to have help.
Deserve.
So
Yeah.
trying to
That's good.
access can be a struggle.
Okay.
Now and a barrier for people. I think now with telehealth, the one beauty of COVID brought us
Yes.
telehealth services, right? For our
Yes.
doctors, for our therapists. So the access is easier. Even when I worked
Okay.
in foster care for a long time,
Oh, I didn't know
because
that. Okay.
yeah, the ability because of technology, right? That
Right.
typically people had at least an iPad, right? And
Right.
I could do therapy that way.
Okay.
If they were too far away and services weren't accessible that way, I could do it online.
Okay.
So I think that technology has helped with some of the barriers.
Okay.
And then I think those are external barriers, but I think there's internal barriers too, right? There's the
Yes.
barriers of just it's scary. I don't,
It's
it's
scary.
scary. It's like,
Might be judged.
right, like what are they
Yeah.
going to think of me? And
Yes.
I mean, the first time I went to therapy, I didn't even say everything because I was like, I don't know what this person's
I
thinking.
don't know
Like,
what she's thinking.
what is she going to say? She'll talk about me at the dinner table with her family, you know,
Right.
which because I didn't know anything at the time. This is pre-education, but yeah, I think that depending on your ethnicity, the cultures that you come from,
Hmm.
it is taboo. It is not. We don't talk about our family. We don't
Yeah.
talk about our secrets. I work in a medical university, and majority of those in our medical university, because we are based off of trying to provide rural services. We want doctors of every culture and ethnicity to be
Okay.
out in the community. So when you as a patient go see a doctor, you want a doctor that looks like you, talks like you, understands your background, right?
Right.
So our school is extremely diverse, which I love.
That's
And
awesome.
most of the students that come see me, they've never been to it. I mean, they come in my office and they're like, I don't know if I want to sit in that big cozy chair back there. Do you have like a regular chair I can sit in, right?
Right.
Because they're nervous. What are you gonna do if I get in that chair?
Right.
Um,
Right.
but before you know it, these these men are in here holding my heart pillow in that cozy chair, just opening their heart, being like, I never knew it was like this. I didn't know therapy was
Yeah.
like this, right? That it doesn't have to be stiff and scary. It can be comfortable,
Comfortable.
yeah,
Yeah.
as you build relationships. So I think a lot of people in their mind, some of the barriers are fears they have for
Okay.
themselves and for maybe the people in their life,
Okay.
what they would think. Yeah.
Yeah. I know for me, it was definitely just a fear of opening up to a stranger, and
Yeah.
also too, I grew up, I'm African American. I grew up in a family that, my stepdad was or is Jamaican, and my mom, she's African American, and I
Mhm.
grew up in a family where we just did not talk about our problems. If something big, whatever happened in the family,
Mhm.
it is what it is. We sweep it under the rug and keep on moving,
Mhm.
acting like as if nothing ever happened. So growing up with that type of mentality, and I swear, I kid you not, like, I mean, you pretty much know, you know my story. Like,
Mhm.
anything that happened, we just didn't talk about it. We
Yeah,
just,
within the family system, right? So if you
yes,
don't talk about it there, you're not going to go talk to a stranger about it. Like that's like
exactly.
unheard of, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so I mean that really leads me into my other question that I had
Sure.
was, I had researched that 63% of African Americans, they believe that when you go to therapy, it's a sign of like weakness. So have you ever heard that? Would you agree with that statement?
Well, it's kind of like connecting therapy when in that statement I hear vulnerability, right? Like,
Yes.
I don't think it's weakness. I think it's courage. Anytime
Mhm.
you reach out for support,
Yeah.
whew, right? You can
Yes.
feel it in your body. It's vulnerable to say, I'm struggling. I
Yes.
need support outside of myself. Being a strong, independent woman myself,
Yes.
yes, that is hard to do for sure. And
Yeah.
so, I don't think it's weakness. I don't agree with that. Like Brene Brown talks a lot about that, about
Mhm.
vulnerability, and it is courageous to be vulnerable, to
Yeah.
ask for support. It is. It's humbling, right?
Yes. It's
to,
very humbling.
to
Yep.
say I need to go to somebody who has some education and some training in this area. But what's kind of interesting is that, like, if you want to get fit,
Yeah.
you go to a trainer at the gym.
Right.
They don't even have a master's degree, right? Like, they don't. They, you know what I mean? Like, if you're struggling with something, like, you
Yes.
go see. So
Yes.
why not?
You
Like,
know what? I love that analogy because I never thought about it like that.
hmm,
Yeah,
yeah.
you go to the gym, you get a personal trainer, you want to get healthy, you get a nutritionist, but yeah, so what's wrong with getting a therapist? I never thought
Exactly.
about it like that.
Because that's internal health, right? Like,
Mhm.
yes, and you obviously want someone that has skills that can offer you, but a lot of it again is that relationship, and then
Yes,
the therapist learning the client they're working with, right? Because every
right.
client, it's one thing I love about my job. Every client is so different and unique and sees the world differently.
Yeah.
So keeps you on your toes too.
I love that. I love that. I know, like, when we first started working together, vulnerability was one of the very first things you
Yes.
taught me. We did a lot of work around vulnerability because, I'll have you know, I'm one of those strong women.
Oh yes, she is. Oh yes, she is.
And yeah, I needed a lot of work in that area. So yeah,
But you did
I
a lot
agree
of
with
work.
that.
You
Yes,
did
I
a lot
did a
of
lot
work
of,
in that
thank you for
area.
that. I need to,
Yes, you
yes,
did. It was not
yes,
easy. I remember, I think the first time you were tearful in
yeah,
session and you're like, I don't do this. You
right,
know?
right. I don't cry in front of people.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. That was the beginning too, right? Of the tears
Right.
and working
Now it's
through.
like I come and I'm like, girl, I'm about to just let it all out right now.
Uh-huh,
Just,
uh-huh,
I
exactly.
I got my tissue ready and everything. I'm just
Uh-huh.
like,
Yeah, because
so,
once you find that safe place, right, it feels
yeah,
like I don't have to have this guard on. And
yes,
we're exhausted. I mean, I'm just going to talk to the women that are listening to this podcast because we're exhausted trying
yes,
to do it all. It
uh,
is so much to carry.
yes,
And, I love men, but it's different what they carry than what we
yes,
carry. And, a lot of us have felt like we have to numb ourselves away
yes,
of our emotions, like not really deal with our emotions. We don't have time for I can't be emotional right now. Like I can't feel this. I need to survive this, right?
yeah,
And so we learn to operate outside of our bodies. We learn to operate outside of our emotions, and that's just not the way it's designed to be. We are body, mind, spirit,
yeah,
and those parts of ourselves, they are supposed to speak and to inform, right?
and
And
yeah, and
so
they do.
they do, but we like learn to not listen. We like
Yes,
shut them down,
yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
and then
yes,
we
yes.
get ourselves in a bunch of trouble because we you can only do that for so long, and
Mm-hmm.
then you're gonna start breaking apart,
Yes.
right?
I
Because
mean,
yeah,
yeah, I know. Oh my
Me too,
God.
girl. Me too.
The choir. I like, oh my God, I know. I know. I mean,
Yeah.
so that leads me to my other question. I had found a statistic where it said that 60% of people with some sort of mental health um, issue, if you will, they suffer in silence. you know, and I know for me, for the longest time, outside of, you know, how I grew up with my family and we don't talk about things, I just, you know, whenever something happens, I didn't talk about my feelings. I just pushed it down, like you said, and I just suffered in silence. But over the long haul of my life, I learned, you know, that's not good. That's causing me stress, high blood pressure, anxiety,
Yeah.
depression, you know, all the things. It's like, that is not healthy. So you need to get some of that out. I mean, what would you say to someone who out there might be suffering in silence right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think these steps, right, of listening to a podcast about mental health, start
Uh-huh.
like learning, right? So that you, that's a baby step, right? Of like
Right.
reading books, listening to podcasts, learning a little bit, right? So
Yeah.
that you can build your courage to step into, just look online. Just look online.
Yeah.
Therapists in your area, right? Look at pictures. Just look. Don't do anything. Just
Okay.
look and see. Look what's available. Look at the pictures. Look at what they offer. Could I do it? What would it feel like? Visualize it. What would it feel like if I went to an office? Oh no, that's I already have anxiety. Okay. What if I did online and I
Right.
got to sit in my own
And
home?
your own,
Okay.
yes.
That I like. I could do that. I could be in my cozies after work. Okay,
Yep.
I could do that. Um, you know, you just sometimes we can't just jump into things. I mean, we can, but most often we're a little skeptical and we're like, you know. So
Yeah.
just gather some information. I think gather some information, baby step it, and see what it would be like, and then you got to go for it.
Go for it.
What
Yes.
do you have to lose? The
Not,
worst thing that could happen is you can say,
and it,
I don't like this therapist.
yeah.
I'm going to try a different one. Right? Um,
Right.
that's the worst thing that can happen, you
Right.
know? And then you would know. But you got to at least try. And like I said earlier in the podcast, like my initial one wasn't that great. And so I just was like, okay, I'm not going to throw out therapy completely. This is before as
Right.
a therapist. And I said, okay, I'm going to try a woman instead. And I was like, okay, I want somebody like older than me because I need some wisdom, right?
Yeah.
And I just went through like that and I looked at pictures and I made
Nice.
some phone calls. And I just kind of went into with the approach of like, I'm just kind of testing it out. I'm going to see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no pressure.
I know for me, I don't really recall like what all I did. I was just so distraught and just God take the wheel because I
Yeah,
can't do it anymore. And for me, I know it was something spiritual working in the background. I'm just like, you know what? Instantly found you and was like, this is the connection. This is like, this is what I needed.
yeah,
'Cause I was just at a place where, you know what? I'm just going to try. I'm willing. Just give it to me,
yeah.
God. So,
And he did.
and he did.
He did. Little did we either of us know,
Yeah.
like, yeah, the things.
Yeah. So sometimes
Yeah.
you got to get to that place in your life,
Yeah.
if that's you out there listening. So one other question before we get ready to wrap up. Well, two other questions. You kind of talked about this earlier. You know, the generation now versus like how we grew up. I'm in my 50s. You
Me
know.
too. Me
Okay.
too.
Okay. All right. We connecting right there.
Uh-huh.
Yes, ladies or gentlemen, if you're in your 50s, like the generation now is so different, right? But my question though is, do you think that this generation now is is it more socially acceptable to like go see a therapist or admit out loud, you know, I've got some mental health issues going on versus like kind of like, you know, how we grew up maybe? Like, what are
Yeah.
your thoughts on that?
No, I absolutely agree. Like, it's so interesting to be walking down, at the university down the hallway, and students
Yeah.
will be like, "Oh, there's Miss James. I see her. I go to therapy." Like just out loud, and I'm like,
Oh,
it still kind of at times throws me off. Just, I mean,
yes.
obviously because it's confidential, but a client can say if they see somebody. But
Yeah.
my generation, no,
No
right?
way.
Uh-uh.
I'm not
Like
down.
you only went to a therapist if you had serious mental health issues, and even that we didn't talk about. right?
Right.
Like the cousin that had, we don't talk
Yes.
about. So, yeah, I think social media has definitely promoted, like
Okay.
it's out there. Obviously, with podcasts, people are sharing from their hearts, like
Yes.
information's coming up. Also, research data, I can't help myself because I in a facility of that is, just seeing the benefits of therapy, the benefits of taking care of your body, mind, spirit, like
Yes.
wellness in
Wellness.
general. That
Yes.
bracket is, very acceptable, and it's beyond body, right? It's
Right.
how are your emotions, And so, yeah, it's definitely way more acceptable now. I talk to people, and it's like everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I have a therapist too. Oh yeah, I have a therapist," and it's just like it's so interesting to me,
Yes.
right? So yeah, I think that's beautiful. I'm grateful for that, because it used to
Yes.
be, I get on an airplane and, you're sitting next to somebody and they're like, what do you
Yes.
do for a job? And I'm like, I'm a therapist. And it's like, zip. they're
Not
not,
talking word.
they're not talking to me the rest of the flight. I'm like, gosh, okay.
You're not about to sit here and analyze me.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Oh, that is
Oh,
so
goodness.
funny. I was at a to your point earlier too about how it just people are so willing to just, oh, I got a therapist, I have a therapist. And I was at a I do high heels dancing, and we were sitting in a circle introducing ourselves, and so I spoke out loud about how I've been on this journey of taking care of my mental health and I
Yeah.
have a therapist. And from there, I swear, like the next five girls who had to introduce themselves. Oh, and I see a therapist as well, and I've been on my mental health journey for a year. And oh, and
Uh,
I see there. I'm just like, oh my God, like wow,
yeah.
like so many people are willing to just put it out there and admit, yeah, I see a
Yes.
therapist. I thought it was really beautiful.
Well, and something to note to you is
Hmm.
because you were vulnerable.
Yeah,
You were vulnerable in that moment, and
yeah,
when you're vulnerable in a moment like that, it gives those around you permission to be vulnerable. Who
oh,
knows if they would have said anything,
yeah.
See how
That,
you've grown? See all the things.
thank you. I didn't even realize that. I didn't even realize. I didn't even put
Yeah,
that together. Wow.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I wish you could have been there because it was just like, well, dang.
yep,
Wow.
yep.
This has been a beautiful conversation. I know we just got a few minutes left. My last thing for anybody out there listening, I mean, the key really is if you're going through something, a wound, be grateful for it. Count it all joy. If you get to a point in your life and you want to try therapy, I encourage you to try it. With that, I want to ask you, what are some of the main goals of therapy as we get ready to close?
Yeah, it was really unique. It depends on the person that comes in.
Okay.
Where I am in the university is it's a lot of anxiety, right, about stress and performance. But
Yes.
often we get in there and that's the starting point, but then we realize there's deeper things going
Deeper
in there. And
things.
my background is working in trauma, and
Okay.
so sometimes I find it like I hear it, right? I hear the history, the roots and things like that. But in my private practice, it's really diverse in the sense of like lots of different needs and levels of mental health need.
Okay.
So but but yeah, so it really depends if you're
Okay.
coming in because you've got depression, or you're coming in because you're in a life transition. Kids are leaving, the
Yes.
marriage is not the best. Where am I in this season of life?
Okay.
um, so different reasons, losses, anxiety, I mean, you name it, it's
It's
all there. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, are you working on any special project or any, how
Oh,
can
that's a
people
lead-in
find you?
question. I am. Yeah, so the unique thing about this relationship with Tanasha, even though it's a therapy client relationship, is that it just happened to be, and this is where we both feel God was intertwined,
Yeah.
is I had been working on writing a book for longer than I want to admit, on grief, and then Tanasha's like, one of her therapeutic things is writing her story, and then she finishes her book before I even finish mine. I'm like, okay, I'm getting
Yeah.
competition now here.
Yeah.
So I have a book that is in the editing process. It should be out
Nice.
in June, and that book is called Abandoned Garden: Getting Back to Taking Care of Yourself After
Awesome.
Loss. So it's about the loss of self and how women lose themselves in lots of ways. So there's some grief theory in there. There's some neuroscience of the brain, and there's just some personal stories in there. So
Yeah.
I've got that, and then I started a podcast as well. It's called
Nice.
Hot Flashes and Margaritas. So it's
Margaritas.
yes. So it's about midlife, women in midlife, and all the things that we face between hormone changes
Oh my
and
God.
divorce and marriage and dating. Way too many stories on dating for me.
Woo, woo.
Yes, so that's
Margarita.
really fun. Yeah. So us women, we go through a lot. So it's a supportive place where
Okay.
women can come feel like they're seen and heard, and maybe laugh a little bit, and
Yeah.
we can share in the journey together. So
I love
yeah,
it. I
that's what I
love
got
it.
going on.
I
Yeah.
love it. Well, awesome. I mean, this has been a great session or episode with you. I'm so glad
Yes.
that you agreed to come on and be a guest of the
Absolutely.
Grateful Wounds podcast.
I'm a
Um,
huge fan of you, so I will definitely be
oh,
supporting you all the way through.
thank
Hmm.
you. I'm a
Yes.
huge fan of you as well. I mean, it's been going on 2 years, or I think over 2 years.
Over
So,
two
yeah,
years. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much.
You're
It's been a
welcome.
pleasure, and I love you. And peace and blessings to your podcast and your upcoming book,
Thank you.
and continued success with your therapy
My
sessions as
practice.
well. Or
Thank
your
you.
practice. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Take care.
All right. Bye. I'm
Bye.
finished.